Hey everybody, good to see you. I get to host an awesome panel of great venture capitalists and investors with great history in the space. So excited to dive into that. I figured we'd actually start by having everybody do an introduction and tell us a little bit about how you got into this space and then what you do today and how you're approaching it.
Hello, my name is Steve from Block Tower Capital. We are the crypto investment firm based in New York. So how I got into the space, so I was working for Goldman Sachs about 9 years in Tokyo. So I got to know blockchain 2017, which is not OG at all. But I couldn't keep thinking about how the blockchain works and stuff. So I left the Goldman 2 years ago. I joined the firm who founded by, right here, the guy, Ari Paul here. So, so that's how I got into the space. A little bit of a background is, so I grew up in Asia, Japan and Korea about 20 years. So that's how I got into the gaming, of course. I'm a generation of Famicom, Super Famicom, Game Boy, PlayStation, every games I play. So that's why we are the crypto fund, investing in many different aspects of blockchain space. But we are very bullish on how this NFT and gaming can be benefited from blockchain technology.
Hi, yes, I'm Craig Russo. I'm the Director of Innovation at Polyant Labs. It's a early stage incubator focused on blockchain and blockchain adjacent startups. I'm also the co-founder of SludgeFeed, which is the largest media outlet that currently covers NFTs and blockchain gaming with the focus that we do. Before crypto, I was in the biotech venture capital world in Boston. Made the transition, much like everyone else in the 2016, 2017 time, and really haven't looked back. And Polyant actually just announced Polyant Games, which is the first NFT-focused investment firm and startup ecosystem. So we're going to be pushing heavily into the space in the coming years here.
Karthik Iyer, I'm part of a foundation called the P2P Foundation. How many of you know what the P2P Foundation is here? Okay, one person, two, okay. So if you Google Satoshi Nakamoto on your phone or your computer or whatever you have, the first link is a Wikipedia link, and Wikipedia will tell you that the only place Satoshi has a web presence is the P2P Foundation. That's why he published the white paper, the Bitcoin client, so everything started there. So I'm part of the P2P Foundation. Mined cryptos in 2009, been trading since 2011. The Coin Market Cap guys did an interview on me. So if you put in my name, Karthik, and Coin Market Cap, so it talks about this 10-year story on crypto. I run a fund called Genesis Block, which is based here in New York, so we do quite a bit of venture investing. I also mentor close to half a dozen funds in Asia and the Middle East. Been part of CryptoKitties, NFT. You know, it's been a very exciting time, so we've been following that for quite some time. And I also have a research think tank, which is called Blockchain Monk, and a venture builder, which is called Blockchain Velocity. So I'm glad to be here in beautiful New York, and very excited.
Hi guys, I'm Ayesha, and I work at Ledger Prime. We are a quant hedge fund primarily focused on derivatives. We just launched a year ago. Yes, so we have been trading digital assets for mainly, but very much interested to see how these NFTs play out, and you know, if they hit the exchanges and what the volume and market cap around them would be. I also teach blockchain at NYU Tandon, so been in this space for past 4 years. Prior to this at Republic and Consensus.
Great. And I'll just introduce myself quickly as well. Richard Dulude, one of the co-founders of Underscore VC. We're a $225 million venture fund in Boston. We do seed Series A, a lot of open source investing as well as crypto. I was an angel investor in companies like Ripple back in 2013, Abra, Otis Wealth, Arwen, and a couple of others as well more recently. So with that, excited to hear your guys' perspectives. I definitely want to start out with, we're thinking about the NFT space, and within that, what are the areas that you're really excited about investing?
So I would say two things. One, definitely gaming. We have actually three our portfolio companies here in today's events. I'm very happy to host them here. So gaming is very obvious. I won't touch further down. But the second thing I'm very excited about NFT space is digital badges. So I see a lot of enterprises, traditional business, are trying to use NFT for digital badges. So for example, if one of the biggest developer conference and a lot of developers has some passion to prove that they attended some world famous conference or a certificate of a school or skill, a lot of things that I think NFT can add a value to. So speaking about gaming, I would say two things. So one, I think collectible and in-game items, and then multi-boss game and trading. These are the all kind of one aspect of the gaming industry that a lot of people are excited about. The second thing I would say though is, so first, multi-boss game, I think a lot of people are excited about, but it will take some time. Said that, the second point I want to make is now a lot of the gaming companies start to use, traditional companies start to use the blockchain component into their game. And then a lot of indie games, I talked to a lot of the debt review CEO, as Vincent, who couldn't make it today because of coronavirus. But so a lot of indie games are using the smart contract very creatively and to make a very new type of game that you didn't see in the traditional gaming space.
Yeah, so we're very much focused on kind of the underlying NFT infrastructure from an investment perspective. Kind of a little bit of a walk before we run type of approach. Obviously, there's a lot of huge potential in blockchain gaming and other adjacent verticals. But what's just described in the previous presentation is that there's a lot of underlying needs to really help facilitate the scaling of this industry, even relative to the traditional cryptocurrency market. NFTs are just a drop in the bucket. So we're really interested in finding ways in which we can facilitate value creation that can then apply to the application layer.
So, I spent 10 years working in the open source industry, and in open source, the reason why open source took off is because Apache was the killer app. In a data center with IIS and Windows, you could only run one web server, whereas with Apache and Linux, you could run multiple web servers on a single computer. So you need not, you didn't have to have hundreds of computers. What you could do in hundreds of computers, you could do with tens of computers. So it impacted top line and bottom line value. So when I look at the crypto space, the last 10 years was all about this hype. There was no correlation between actual value and the token price. You look at real demand for the tokens, and then you try and correlate the price. There's absolutely no correlation. So I think all of that is now gone, right? It went from $880 billion market cap to $220 billion today. So I think in the NFT space, the real value drivers would be people who are impacting the top line and bottom line. And so I'll give you an example. I advise a lot of family offices in Asia. And one of the big family offices in India wanted to put 5% of their portfolio on crypto. And they were asking me, what is the right way to approach this? Should we buy a tracker? Where do we invest into? Do you buy ETFs and all that stuff? And one of the things that they were interested in is that they also had a huge art portfolio. They had about $200 million worth of art. They had Monets, they had Raja Ravi Verma painting, which is a very popular painting in India. But there was no real way for them to extract value out of it, because the only way for them to extract value is to create a special purpose vehicle, hold the art, and then sell that as a security, trade the shares of that company and do it, which is fairly complicated. But if you can actually tokenize the art with one of these platforms and create tokens out of that, then they get liquidity out of that. So I think that's the value that I see, the liquidity premium that some of these collectible items would have, and the marketplace will create. The ease of access to some of these assets, these collectibles. We're talking about paintings, we're talking about collectibles from all over the world coming out into these marketplaces, which was next to impossible. Like you have the Marvel and all these comics here in the US. We have something similar in India, and it's called Amar Chitrakatha, and it's been around from the 1950s and 60s. And people collect that, and there's a huge marketplace for it, but it's highly disorganized. So I see two different areas of value, and we want to invest into companies that are focused on this. So first is people who make this, easy to represent, because collectibles is all about showing off to other people. People want to show that they have this digital art. They want to show that they have a piece of land on Decentraland. It's about the showing off aspect of it. So the infrastructure that's being built to show this off, virtual worlds, virtual galleries, and all that stuff. I think that's really exciting. And the second aspect of it is the liquidity premium. People who create liquidity pools. I think a new Binance is going to be created out of, some of these second layer, like Decentraland and these other protocols that allow you to trade NFTs. So I think these two areas of infrastructure we find very exciting. And I think it's going to just transform the world. So top line, bottom line value is where we put our focus on. Thanks.
So I'll be very quick. I think personally, I would be very much interested in collectibles. But from a market perspective, or from what we do, we need to see what is trading best and what is holding more market cap on the volume side. And I think there's a while to go for it. So that's where we would be looking for in the long run.
Are you guys making NFT investments?
So we've started looking into it. We've started getting some pitch decks. Like I said, so far we've gone more on ticketing than gaming or any other industry. So, but haven't made one yet.
I think that's so cool that Quant Fund actually looking to trade NFT. That was very creative. I think very interesting.
If it grows, why not?
So we have actually a bunch of entrepreneurs in the audience, and given this is a VC panel, what's the one piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur that is practically helpful as they go out and do a fundraise?
It's hard to pick one, so I would say really like 5 quick things. So the one, the business mindset. I think even though you guys are hardcore gamers, I think having a business mindset, especially whether you can make the right decision to partner with the right partners. That's one. And 2 is how you monetize your exciting product. I think that's the obvious one, but a lot of founders of gaming projects are missing it. The second is basically flexibility. In this market, we, Ari and myself, we not only venture investor, but we also hedge fund managers. So we look at the market. As you know, market is crazy. But I don't think you should always separate that crypto trading market and VC. I think it's very related. So as a lot of scaling solution, change over time very quickly. So don't stick to the one thing too much, but always you should be prepared that something that you are working on might fail. So you should have this flexibility mindset to move along with the dynamic market. The third is, I would say, scalability. Where is the Super Tree? Our portfolio company. So there you go. So they taught us one thing is basically scalability. The scalability, what I'm saying here is how you can expand your game product fast enough. Let's say you are trying to make the one product 2 years. What if that fails? Or you're gonna take another 2 years to make the second game? I think in this fast-moving market, you have to be ready to scale up. Means that after your first game might fail, you should get ready to publish the second game relatively soon. And the fourth point is community, obvious. And then fifth point is execution. Execution is very important, but a lot of actually project and teams are missing this execution capability. So we really care about how fast these founders can deliver their product and strategy into the market.
Yeah, I would say really, as an entrepreneur in the crypto space, you got to really own what you don't know. I think there's a tendency to kind of forget that these are startups, and there's a lot of difficulties that go into building an actual business. Regardless of what Twitter says. So I think it's really, surrounding yourself with the right people to build an operation that can scale. And that's, really kind of what a large part of what we're focused on is helping developers who are, hacking away and have all these great ideas to, really establish the business end of things and make it a profitable business.
So if it's one thing, right? If it's one burning thing that if they do it
Single
right.
piece of advice. Yeah.
So I wrote my PhD thesis in Norway on platform-centric ecosystems. My study was why the Scandinavian mobile industry, like Nokia and Ericsson, were all failing, and these are 100-year-old companies, and why Google took over. And one big learning from them is that you can no longer build products. Products will fail. You have to build ecosystems. So companies that are successful in building platform-centric ecosystems, that they think of themselves as a platform and allow everybody else to plug into them using open APIs and things like that, I think they are the ones that will survive and everybody else will fail. And I've seen this crypto space for 10 years. I have tweets from 2010. If you put in my name, Karthik Iyer, Future of Money, there's a talk from 2012 talking about some of the stuff on Bitcoin and everything else. I've seen companies come and go, and the only ones that survive are the ones that have built an ecosystem around themselves successfully. So without the ecosystem, they're all going to fail, and that's why we're seeing everybody fail. 95% of these guys fail because they've never built anything, they've never sold anything, they've never built ecosystems. Most of them are first-time entrepreneurs. And the investors themselves, a lot of them, right? They just don't go and tell them that you've got to do this. It's not just building your product and falling in love with your product, but building an ecosystem where people can build on top of it.
Revenue, simple as that. Anything that makes money, anything that has a long-term usage to it is probably a long-term providing solution for anything.
Ayesha, I love that. You turned some heads when you said revenue. I loved it in the best possible way. Cool. So we only have just about a minute, so I want to do what I call a rapid fire questions. So if you guys could grab the microphone, we're just going to go down the line super quickly. Most likely place for NFTs to break out?
Gaming.
Gaming, probably.
Art and collectibles.
Collectibles.
Got it. Number of years until 100 million people own one NFT?
1 year.
10, functionally.
4 to 5 years.
5 to 7.
Great. Most interesting NFT project you've seen this year?
Super Tree, our portfolio company, Neon District, our portfolio company, and a few others. I met the Mythical Games just today. The product seems pretty cool.
Yeah, I can second that. The team at Blockade, it's been very impressive. Also a portfolio company of ours. And then Cargo, which is a company that we just are incubating right now that's building some scaling solutions for minting NFTs.
CryptoKitties, because I own quite a bit of it, but also Decentraland. I think I find it very exciting.
I would say Cargo also.
Great. Well, join me in thanking these guys for joining us to the panel, and look forward to meeting you guys today.